Hello everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. Today I want to talk about the Glock 47, which isn't on the table here because I don't have one. However, I have all of the concepts that the 47 is based on sitting here on the table. So I'm kind of giving you my opinion of Glock 47 and why at the moment I don't have one. So let's start out with kind of pushing these aside. All these guns, by the way, have been safety checked by everybody who's present. So everybody's really familiar with the Glock 19. It's kind of the standard in compact concealed carry, kind of that do everything. Not great at, super great at being small, not super great at having high capacity, but kind of the standard. And then of course you have pretty much the standard in duty guns, at least from a Glock perspective, which is the Glock 17. Longer slide, longer grip, more capacity. So when the military trials, the MHH trials came out, Glock submitted something called the 19X, which eventually became the Glock 45. So what's the big deal about the 19X Glock 45? Well, you've got a Glock 17 grip. So if I put the grips together, you've got a Glock 17 grip, but you've got a Glock 19 frame size and a Glock 19 slide effectively. So you've got a Glock 19 with more capacity and the larger grip, which of course for a military that doesn't have to worry about concealed carry is perfect. So when this first came out, there was a lot of interest in it, and the 19X sold well once it was made available to the public, and then the 45 has kind of evolved from that. Okay, so that's all kind of, everybody knows that history. What is a Glock 47? Well, to some extent, it's a Glock 45 with a Glock 19 slide on it. Or, I'm sorry, a Glock 17 slide on it. So I got a Glock 17 right here, and it's got a Glock 17 length slide, but it's still got the Glock 19 frame. Well, that's going to be a problem because the recoil spring is going to hang out, because on all of the Glocks, if I pull this back a little bit, you see that the recoil spring goes to the end of the slide. So the recoil spring would hang out, things that get caught in there. Not only that, it would look kind of weird, but it actually could have functional issues. So what Glocks already knows how to solve that. Their competition guns have been around for a very long time. So this is the Glock 34. It's basically a Glock 17 frame, but with a longer slide. And they solve it with this slide extension. And if I pull it back, you see that the recoil spring still ends at the frame in this extension. So it's actually connecting here instead of out here. So all they did is they took that same concept, something they already knew how to do. They took the Glock 17 slide, put one of these extensions on it. So effectively what it looks like is this, but in a Glock 19 size. So now what you have is a hybrid between a Glock 17 and a Glock 19 dust cover, but with 17 grip and 17 slide. So why was that thing even produced? Well, because Customs and Border Control wanted it, and of course no other government agency can be as smart as any other government agency, so they had to design their own. And of course Glock, if they're going to get a contract, they're going to be happy to oblige, and they'll make another gun and they'll sell it. So what's the allure? Why do gun owners want a Glock 47? Well, when it first came out in 2019, the very simple message was, you can't have one. Well, it's like, a kid that sees something put on the top shelf. Nothing is more important, maybe other than breathing, is getting a hold of whatever that thing is, even if it's useless to them. So when the Glock 47 came out for the Customs and Border Patrol, and the public was told, you can't have one, everybody wanted one. Well, Glock let that age for a while. Glock's good at marketing. They let that age for a while. And then they released it to the public as the Glock 47, which is kind of going back to the Glock 45. Think of a Glock 45 with a Glock 19 slide on it, or I'm sorry, a Glock 17 slide on it, and that little slide extension that you see on the competition guns. And at that point, now the itch can be scratched. You can have a Glock 47. To some extent, why would you buy a Glock 47? Well, because you can. As far as concealed carry, if you want a Glock 17 slide and a Glock 17 grip, you buy a Glock 17. Yeah, but it's modular. I could take that Glock 19 or 17 slide off it and I could put a 19 slide on it and it would work. And that would be correct. Or you can just buy a Glock 19. I get it, some states where there's a lot of restrictions, maybe that's not an option available to you. But really fundamentally, what they did with the Customs and Border Patrol is they solved a problem. After making the problem exist, then they solved it. But in the consumer market and the concealed carry market, there really isn't a place for that. So the question then becomes, am I going to get one? Yes, I'm going to get one. And why am I going to get one? Because I can. But is it going to change my concealed carry? Is it groundbreaking? Is it revolutionary? It's none of those things. It's interesting. Really, that's about it. But beyond that, there really isn't a compelling reason why you should get one. And I'm not really particularly in a hurry to get one. It'll be opportunistic. I'll stumble across one that's been sitting on a store shelf for long enough that the owner of the store wants to see it go away. It makes me a decent offer on it, and it'll come home with me. But I'm not out there scouring around looking for one, and I suspect probably the general public isn't either. So if you want a Glock 47, go ahead, get one. It's going to have all the Glock reliability. It does have parts interchangeability, both between the 17 and the 19. It's effectively a Gen 5, even though they don't call it a Gen 5. It's going to have all of the Gen 5 characteristics. It's going to have all the reliability and functionality that Glock offers. So there's really not a reason not to get one. So if you like our videos, please consider supporting us on Utreon, which is where we're moving to in addition to YouTube, due to YouTube's policies restricting a lot of the types of videos that we and other gun channels have previously liked to do. And thank you.